Today I want to share with you about our lap books. Now, lap books are included in many of our studies. Our Time Traveler, American History Studies, and Project Passport World Studies all contain lap books among their many other projects. However, in some of our studies, we have solely a lap book. It really just focuses on that, maybe a couple extra bonuses or text alongside of some of them. And now, first of all, for those who don't know what a lap book is, a lap book is basically a file folder that has been folded in a particular way in order to house a variety of paper projects based on a topic. The projects are usually small and contain minimal amount of text to them, and they can be interactive or have moving parts or pockets full of cards and all kinds of things. They're also a great way to combine the projects from a study into one portfolio that any child would be proud of. Now, the standalone topical lap book resources that we carry come in two versions. One is called a Lap Pak, and what that is a lap book with accompanying text. They also mostly include audio readings sometimes of the text, and we have them in two grade level groupings. One is K through 2, and the other is 3rd through 8th. Now, Activity Paks are a little bit different. It's still a lap book, but there's no real text involved. They're meant to accompany studies or launch research of your own. Now, they also do contain 2 extra projects or bonus projects to them as well. That could be anything from a newspaper to a game or poster or file folder display. There's a variety of different ones. All right. Now, what I would like to do is take you step by step through our menu and a lap pack and an activity pack so you can see how they work. So let's get started.
We're going to begin by opening the file on your desktop and double-clicking on the start.htm. That'll open a menu in your browser. Now, the one we're using right now is a 3rd through 8th grade level one called Wonders of the World. And if you scroll below this opening paragraph area, you're going to see an introduction page, and this will share a little bit about the lap pack itself. It also has a list of the projects included, supplies needed to complete it. Then next we have our acknowledgments page, and below that is a resource list, should you wish to include additional reading, websites, or an occasional audio. Now below the introduction are project directions, and actually we're going to get back to this, so I just wanted to show you where that was. Below that are directions for printing the reading text. Now, there will be 2 forms of printing for you to choose from. The first is a booklet format that you see here. What's nice about this is that it can fit in a manila envelope that's going to be attached to the back of the lap book itself, so it keeps it together with the lap book. Now, however, if you do prefer to keep the pages in a 3-ring binder at full size, that's also offered here. Very simple directions because it's just basically printing them off and hole punching. Okay, now let's go back to, by the way, you'll see here too that all your booklet pages, all your masters are going to be on the main menu, as well as booklet covers and even instructions for duplex printing. So let's go back to the project directions. Okay, this is where you're going to find the instructions for all the projects in a continual format. The corresponding masters for the projects, like I said, they're going to be on the menu. So for example, let's look at Stonehenge here. Here are the directions. Here's the supplies you're going to need and directions. It tells you you're going to need to print one of Stonehenge 1 and Stonehenge 2 on white paper. Now, sometimes projects are going to call for cardstock or colored paper. But if you go to the menu and scroll to the project, okay, here it is here. You're going to see that the masters are listed here. And here's what 1 would be and 2 would be. Okay, there's also a photo button over here to the side so that you can see what the project should generally look like when it's done. And all right, also included here is audio. The audio is basically the text being read aloud. Like so. Why don't we listen to just a little bit of it?
Medieval Wonders. The second list is the medieval one.
Okay, so you get the idea. All right. And what happens over here is an audio time index. It's going to help you locate the reading on the read aloud according to where it is on the timer. So for example, the Coliseum starts at 643. So you're going to find it by just sliding along until you get to 643 or somewhere around there. We'll start there.
Germany now claims the record.
Okay, so the Coliseum has begun. All right, so you get the idea. Okay, now once you've completed all of the Lap Book projects, you're going to want to go back up to the top of the menu and click on the directions for the Lap Book assembly. Let me show you where that is, right here. All right, now this is going to take you through step by step on how to fold the file folder, how to add pages to it, and where to adhere each project within it. It's also going to tell you about printing the cover, which is also provided for you on here, right there. There's your Lap Book cover, okay? And, excuse me, it's going to tell you also how to attach the manila envelope to the back of it if you're doing the booklet version, right here. You can see that there, and that's, like I said, where you're going to store the booklet. Okay, that's it for this one. Now let's see how this compares to an activity pack. An activity pack is very similar to the Lap Pak. Let's go ahead and close this out first. All right. It does have a few differences. Now we're going to be using the Composer's Activity Pack for this tutorial. You're going to double click on the start.htm again on your file on your desktop to open the menu in your browser. And again, it includes an introduction containing a list of the projects that you're going to be completing. Now, this particular activity pack also contains a resource list of suggested books to add, as well as audio and video. Now, if you don't have these options at your library, by the way, that's fine. You know, by all means, use what's available to you. Okay, here we have Lap Book assembly instructions to pull together the Lap Book at the end. This also includes a cover and 2 pockets that are going to be used in it. It's just how this one works. Now you can see here that there's also a photo gallery. Now this is showing you what the finished project should look like, gained in pages to view. Now, although this activity pack only contains 5 projects, some of these are more lengthy in nature. The collection of composers, for example, the pieces with a purpose, and the music appreciation sheets, which I'm going to refer to those in a few minutes. Now, the composers, each activity pack also contains 2 separate special bonus pieces, you can call it. They don't fit into the Lap Book itself, but they're there for extra. In this case, we have an orchestra file folder display, which is really cool. It's got these little pockets, and it just instructs the children where different orchestra pieces, instruments are laid out within the orchestra and how it's changed over time as well. It also has a matching game of composers with the works that they've done. Now, back to this one here. I wanted to show you, okay, music appreciation here. Now, the composers is extra special because this one actually comes with a series of MP3s that you can play of several different pieces, classical pieces, to go with it. And the children would then in turn fill out their music appreciation sheets accordingly. Now, although the activity packs do not include text of their own, you can see how they would launch research. Now, there's also, though, several of the projects that contain text within them, such as the booklet here. We've got the pieces with purpose. These ones have a lot of text within them as well, but really they're meant to accompany a study or to launch your own research on the specific projects themselves. Now, in the case of the New and Old Testament activity packs, the projects actually call out scripture verses to use for many of those projects. Okay, so now that we've walked through the menus, let's take a look at the Lap Books themselves.
Okay, so now let's take a look at some of these Lap Books. This is a Lap Book. Before I get started, our Lap Books and materials have been through the ringer a bit. We've brought them to conventions over many, many years. They've probably been handled by thousands of people. And so if you see bent corners or smudged text or tears or whatever, please excuse it. But let's go ahead and take a look. All right, so the Wonders of the World. This is the Lap Pak that we were looking at. And you can see how it's a file folder that's been folded in a particular way. There are pages added in. There are lots of projects. Some of these have things you can do with them, whether it's pulls or there's pop-ups in some of these, and wheels. The page is open. Here's Stonehenge, which we were, I was showing you that master earlier. The Leaning Tower of Pisa, which actually leans, and just a variety of things to do. Pockets on some things, areas for children to put in illustrations, other areas for them to add in writing of their own. Here's an example of one of the wheel ones. There's also textures that can be added in, like this one calls for cotton for the fog. Just, quite a variety of things. This continues to open. In fact, you can see there's a pocket down there for the ancient Wonders of the World. So those ones will go in there. There's even a fold-out timeline that goes with this as well. So this is the Lap Pak, and as I was telling you about before, on the back is where you would have your manila folder, and you'd put in the booklet that you'd be reading from. And your child can use this as well, the text, when they're filling in information on some of those projects. Now that would be for the 3rd through 8th grade group. But I mentioned the K through 2 to you as well. And here's an example of that. Again, Ben Franklin here. And what we've done to make this a little bit more child-friendly, younger child-friendly, is to make a lot of the cut marks rounded a little bit more. Just easier cut lines and things like that. So they can still get a lot of fun. I mean, there's very simple ways to incorporate some of these things like pop-ups. Here's an example, if I can get it to open, of Ben Franklin's printer. Let's try that one more time. I've got those vocabulary words getting in the way. But you can see how the pop-up works there. And so there's an envelope with postcards in there, because he was one of the originators of the Postal Service, and he was the first one to get his face on a stamp. Just, a variety of other things in here as well, all, again, geared towards younger children. Okay, so that, too, by the way, has the pocket on the back with the booklet. Now, when it comes to activity packs, they're, again, a little bit different. They don't have the text with them. But here's the Composers one that I was telling you about. And as you can see, it's still very full, has lots of projects to it, and a lot of different places to go with that. Like in this case, a lot of composers to look into and listen to their styles of music. Again, lots of pockets to this, and different folds and things like that as well. In this case, this one has the 2 bonus projects to work on. One is game cards, where you can actually match the artist with information, the composer, I should say, musical artist, with information about them. So you can do all kinds of things with that, matching games with that. This also has the orchestra file folder display. Now what this is, I'm going to pull these out because these ones, I already wanted to set this up. There's a little pocket down here that has a variety of different musical periods. In this case, the classical period. And on the back of the card, it's going to tell you which pockets to put the instruments in. And so this would display what the classical period orchestral layout would be. If you went to other orchestra layouts for the future, Romantic period, other periods, Baroque, you're going to be adding in more and moving these around and seeing just how many more instruments were added into the orchestra. So that's just a really neat kind of aspect to really make learning about this hands-on. Another example of our activity packs is our Make a State. Now the neat thing about this one is that this is really generic to be used with any state of the nation, and even Washington, D.C. The child's going to be adding in information as they learn about it, each state, putting in the state flag, the state symbols, the recipes that the state's known for, all kinds of things, obviously mapping. There's going to be postcards and lots of really cool things. There's even a game called Name That State, where the child's learning about state locations and capitals. Now, another one, here's one, I just want to show you this one really quick too for the projects that go along with this one. New Testament. We have New Testament and Old Testament. And like I said before, the thing about this one is that you're using scriptures. The scriptures are called out, but you would look them up. And so here's this one. This has like postcards from Paul, which are actually postcards that fit into a little mailbox there. Fruits of the Spirit that fit into that pocket. Again, lots of pockets, lots of pop-ups. Here's a pie book. If you've ever seen a pie book, this opens up to several different pages to it. Anyway, there's our Beatitudes, or 5 loaves and fishes, I mean. And here's like an example of a pop-up there, or Jesus with the wine and bread. So just an example, but let me show you these projects that they have to go with it. The Old and New Testament both contain a newspaper with them. And in this case, it's just a matter of taking paper towel tube and painting it like doweling. And most newspapers that go horizontally, this one actually scrolls vertically. You can do either direction though, depending on the kind of doweling, if you want to use actual doweling. And that's suggested in the directions as well. This is our Armor of God poster. You know, each child is encouraged to either draw in their face or use a photo of their face, and then they're going to color in the pieces to the armor. But these are removable, so they can put it in a pocket at night, and in the morning put it back on the poster, because we're asked to put on our armor daily. So, all right. Well, I hope that this has been a help for you to understand better how these lap books work. Now, if you've enjoyed this, please remember to like and subscribe to our channel. I'll have links to our website and some of the other tutorials that we have linked below as well. We also offer videos on homeschool helps, instructional videos, history, cooking in the kitchen, and hands-on ideas and tips. So thank you again for joining me. God bless, and remember to keep your history hands-on.